The next thing I want to show you is how to do the stems on this pattern. All of these stems are made from a 1/4 inch bias. So I'm going to show you how to start and stop on the angle, and I'm just going to start right from the beginning. So I know it sounds obvious, but bias has to be cut on the bias. So how do you do that? This was my 10-inch piece of fabric. This is the selvage right here. It still has a selvage edge on it. So a piece of bias has to be cut on a 45-degree angle from the edge. So this is the piece that I have cut off, and I've cut it 1/2 inch wide. That's the size you have to cut your piece of bias to go through the 1/4 inch bias maker. Okay, so I'll put that away. What I want to do is I want to spray it with starch, but I don't want it so wet. I just want it really just a little damp. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a spray, and I'm going to just make sure that the whole thing has got some starch on it. Okay, so I'm going to lay it out flat. I'm going to pick up my stiletto, and I'm going to take the 1/4 inch bias maker, and I'm going to pick up my piece of bias with the stiletto, and I'm going to put it into the opening, and I'm going to slide it in as far as I can with my stiletto. Now I'm going to turn it over. There's an opening back here, and I'm just going to guide it through, and that will get me started. Now I'm just going to lay this out in front of me just so it doesn't get twisted. Now I'm going to take my iron, and I'm just going to iron it as it comes out of the bias maker. And just like the perfect circles, I want to make sure that this is perfectly dry. I don't want it to be damp. So I'm just going to make sure as I go along that it's perfectly dry. So I'm just moving my hand along with the bias maker in it very slowly and ironing it. The iron is actually touching the bias maker as I go. And there is our first piece of bias to make our stems.